Daijoubu? Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Ocean Pavilion COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you today. My name is Emily McClone, and I'm working as a director of Peaceboat US, and today I'll be moderating this session. Today our session is entitled Empowering Youth Voices for Ocean and Climate Action. We have an incredible panel of youth activists here working with us from all around the world, and they'll be sharing their stories, insights, and learnings from this COP. We're going to be talking about the intergenerational dialogues and also the leadership of youth at COP, which we know is so important as we're leading the way to a brighter future for ocean conservation. So to start off this conversation today, I would like to present just a little bit about our backgrounds. We're going to be having Bodhi Patel here from Ocean Uprise, Parley for the Oceans. We also have joining us online today later on via Zoom, Yassine Guedra from OPRI, the Ocean Policy Research Institute, who is also co-hosting today's session. So we're very grateful for being able to be here in the Ocean Pavilion with OPRI. We have Ms. Khadija Stewart, Climate and Ocean Literary Specialist from Trinidad and Tobago, also a Youth for SDG Scholar and Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador from Peaceboat. We have with us also Lucas Mark from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, who'll be sharing his stories with us today. And we have our partner from OPRI, Santosh K. Runyar. So thank you so much for joining us on the stage. Let's give everybody a round of applause, please. So just to share a bit about my background with Peaceboat, I work as a director of Peaceboat US. We are based in the United Nations Plaza in New York City. We also hold special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. So we are participating in so many different conferences, not only here at COP, but around the world. And we are traveling the world by ship, raising awareness for peace and sustainability, human rights, and also working as an advocate for all of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We travel the world visiting more than 20 countries every 3 months, with our main headquarters based in Tokyo, Japan. We are always departing from Asia, often sailing to the Northern Hemisphere on the red line you can see in the top, and then once a year going to the Southern Hemisphere, traveling down to South Africa and sailing across to Patagonia, visiting Chile, Argentina, and returning through the Pacific. And in each port of call, we are working with local partners on the ground, raising awareness for sustainability through experiential learning programs. These are study programs where we're able to engage with local communities, working on mangrove reforestation, coral reef study programs, often working also on beach cleanups and cultural exchange with NGOs on the ground. So we're really going to learn from our partners in every community that we visit. We sail with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals logo on the hull of the ship. So actually sailing as a flagship for the United Nations SDG Action Campaign and working to raise awareness in every port that we call. We have started also as part of that campaign for the SDGs, a scholarship program for young leaders ages 18 to 30 who are working on sustainable development goals in their home communities. So helping to raise awareness about their projects, but also sharing and learning from each other on board the ship through capacity building and knowledge exchange. And so with that, we invite all of the young leaders who are here with us today to feel free to join us as part of this Youth for SDGs program. We have a lot of leaders who are here with us at COP as well. So our goal is once they join this program, they also join us on stage. Khadija is also one of those leaders, and we have Renee Smith here in the audience as well. So very excited to have all of the youth coming with us together. In this program here, we can see we have been endorsed by IOC UNESCO as a contribution to the UN Ocean Decade. And this is a program where we've been doing water testing in the ports of call, learning about capacity building for data collection. For example, testing the pH level, oxygen, turbidity, and temperature of the water. This data is then shared with the United Nations Ocean Data Information System, ODIS, which is a part of sharing open data, because this is also something that we're working on for capacity building, especially for small island developing states, but also for many nations around the world to be able to share that data and collect data together as part of the Ocean Decade for science. That's really the focus of this decade, right, until 2030. We are also announcing today one thing that I wanted to share with you all. Our next voyage is coming up in January. We'll be traveling to Patagonia and also to Antarctica on board our ship. This is the first time we are going to Antarctica on board our current ship, which is the Pacific World. We'll be traveling on January 25th, sailing down to Antarctica on a 7-day sail to learn about the impacts of climate change. And we invite all of you to join us if anybody's interested. I'll be here at the end. You can talk to us at the end of this program. And this is Torres del Paine National Park, where we'll be spending some time exploring the flora and fauna and observing nature and learning about the importance of biodiversity. So one of the major topics that we want to focus on are nature-based solutions, really looking at how we can embrace nature and help to conserve nature through our voyages. So with that, we are also focused on the energy transition because we do recognize that our ship also has an impact on the ocean. So we are working towards creating a renewable energy future by the year 2045. And we are creating this new ship, which is Peaceboat's EcoShip, working towards environmental conservation, sailing for sustainable development, but also using solar and wind power to set an example for decarbonization of the maritime industry at large. We know there are fleets of ships sailing the ocean, and so if we can create one example as a way that we can decarbonize maritime, we hope that we can inspire the entire system to change. Sometimes that's all it takes is one person to make a big difference, and as an international nonprofit organization, we hope to be the change that we can see for the maritime industry. So that's Peaceboat and our work overall, and we use our ship as a platform. We host more than 60 events every single day, working for sustainable development. And we hope that we can work together not only with OPRI, who is doing a lot of ocean policy research and investigation, but also with the youth leaders who are really the future and the present working towards ocean conservation today. So with that, I would also like to thank the organizers of the Ocean Pavilion for welcoming us here today and for all of you for joining us during this busy time at COP. And with that, I will pass the mic over to Bodhi Patil to start this conversation with each youth to introduce a bit about their programs, why they're here at COP, what's their goal for being here, and then we'll kind of continue the conversation as we look at capacity building and the role of youth in international fora like this climate change conference. So Bodhi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you all here for being ocean warriors. Emily and I just spent the last week crossing the Atlantic Ocean, helping to fill some ocean finance gaps and advocating for youth and intergenerational justice as well as indigenous rights when it comes down to ocean conservation. My name is Bodhi Patil, and I'm a member of the Wisdom Keepers delegation. We have some of our delegation here. We're a group of about 15 indigenous leaders from all around the world that's focused on protecting cultural sovereignty and supporting biocultural stewardship. And as an ocean leader and student at the University of British Columbia, the co-creator of Ocean Uprise, a platform of young people connecting them to ocean literacy materials and ocean action in their communities, I'm really focused on advancing the nexus between the ocean, climate, and education. And so with the Wisdom Keepers and a group of indigenous leaders that we work with called Earth Elders, I'm really excited to start the conversation off by sharing a new program that we're going to be launching and continuing to develop with Peaceboat, which is the University of Mother Ocean. So on the Peaceboat, we're going to be creating a floating laboratory where indigenous leaders, indigenous scientists, young people, people from all different backgrounds in coastal communities have the opportunity to come and share their knowledge and expertise on things from blue natural capital to oceanic biodiversity, whale migration corridors, traditional ecological knowledge and marine management, co-management, these different topics on a floating laboratory where these ideas can be stress tested, where they can be shared, and where collaboration can really be sparked. And this partnership between indigenous science and Western science is really important for us to advance. And as a Wisdom Keepers delegate with my elders here representing some of their values and also the values of my community living on Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam, and Squamish lands as a student at the University of British Columbia, I'm really excited that this program can be done with an organization that truly values youth leadership. So a little bit more about the University of Mother Ocean and then about what we're doing here, and then I'll pass it over to my amazing new friend. So the University of Mother Ocean program really helps to fill this incredible ocean finance gap. So 1% of all climate finance goes to the ocean, and less than 1% of that goes to indigenous people. We know how much biodiversity indigenous people protect. We know how much biodiversity indigenous people govern in lands and seas. And we know how little this is tested, how we need to better understand this. So with University of Mother Ocean, I'm actually going to be working on doing my PhD after finishing a master's at UBC on marine management and really honing in on this gap between indigenous finance and conservation outcomes in marine protected areas and OECMs, other effective conservation measures. And I think this nexus is something that we really need to explore because it's under-researched and under-financed, and that's exactly what the University of Mother Ocean will help to address. We hope to have some key partners like Scripps Institute, like HUI, like others, that really endorse this idea that we must put indigenous knowledge and science at the forefront of ocean conservation and solutions through co-management and through a lot of adaptive practices. So a little bit more about my background. I've spent the last 5 years working and building ocean communities all around the world. That's not just been in a grassroots way, that's been in the boardroom, that's been as an advisor to a lot of large-scale philanthropic groups like the Minderoo Foundation that's doing work on deep sea eDNA and research. And I think this nexus of bringing in ocean finance, bringing in young people and indigenous people to spaces in ocean conservation that have traditionally been left out is important here. That's the gap we're filling, all in our respective ways. And now I'll pass it over to my amazing friend to share more.
Yeah, thanks, Bodhi. Hi, my name is Lucas Marx. I'm a postdoc at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, and I am working on a project which relates to. Is that okay? Yeah.
Closer to the mouth.
Oh. So I'm working on a project which relates to marine carbon dioxide removal, which is a very controversial topic, which also sometimes is called geoengineering. So in that sense, we are committed to do like a lot of outreach to reach as many communities who might be impacted not only by climate change itself, but also by potential climate intervention strategies. So this whole sphere of marine carbon dioxide removal increasingly gets attraction currently, and that's why our project really tries to communicate this science background of MCDR to impacted communities, but also in an educational way. So when we think about MCDR, it's really controversial in the sense of, do we need it, how urgent do we need it, and what are potential impacts, both on the environment but also on impacted communities. So touching on your point earlier, in our project, we really have reached out to a variety of different communities from all demographic groups. So we did really little kind of demonstrations for school kids from ages 6 upwards to K-12 students, but also to older generational groups. We talked to commercial and also recreational fishermen. We did reach out to a lot of tribal communities, as you said earlier. They are like safeguards of the environment. They know the environment best. So we reach out to them, just trying to understand what are their concerns regarding this topic, and how can we implement their concerns into our research without so essentially making them heard when it comes to our job, because we want to be as transparent as possible and as inclusive as possible to do this research by also incorporating other concerns and perceptions of this whole new scheme.
Thank you. And actually, we're going to go to the Zoom, I think, next to introduce Yassine, and then we'll pass the mic over to Khadija afterwards. So, Yassine, can you hear us okay? Welcome to the Ocean Pavilion.
Hello, I can hear you. Okay.
Wonderful. It'd be great if you can introduce your work for us and share a little bit about, what's your passion for being here at COP29.
Yes, so I'm a member of Environmental Association, and I'm here youth representative with OPRI, and this is my first time at COPE. So I'm basically a computer science student who would like to merge all the tech knowledge I have and all the existing environmental problems to maybe find some solutions, and as well predict a lot of stuff. So I'll be representing the OPRI expedition we did earlier, and as well presenting a lot of the unique values that the youth environmental issues have. So we already know that young people have a lot of ideas and innovative energy in a digital media area. And we also know that this inclusion in a lot of stuff can be explained with how decision makers and all the decisions that are made will impact young generations the most, as we all have seen that Greta Thunberg and all the expedition, that all the work she did as well. She created the Friday for Future movement that become international. So we can see how youth can be impactful in a certain way. So I would say that increasing youth engagement in decision-making events, especially could be with intergenerational collaboration, emphasizing about the importance of working across generation, would be a very good thing for youth, and especially trying to include them and listen to their opinion, as my friends already said, would be a very good idea.
Okay, great. Thank you, Yassine. And I didn't know if you wanted to share any further information also about your recent projects, or if you had any slides to share. Now's a great time if you want to.
Yes,
Go ahead.
exactly. I'll be sharing that. So this is, I would like to share with you this recent experience that I have been in, which is a remarkable experience I was in recently in March, which is a scientific trip that was created by OPRI, aimed at empowering youth as future leaders in advocacy and policy making. Well, we learned a lot of stuff. As you can see, this is the ship that we sailed on. We went from Japan to Palau, and it took us 15 days. We did a lot of activities. The first part was a lot of leadership by actually managing to sail the whole ship by ourselves as young people, and as well working with people from different parts of the world, and meeting local sailors from Palau, and as well a lot of people from governmental offices, which helps us deepen our understanding in a lot of things. So as you can see here, we did a lot of work from data collection to cloud observations, and as well TONET experiments, and trying to analyze all those data. And after all of these, we try to apply our knowledge in simulated policy discussions, and as well try to find some sustainable solutions and identify the problem on the ship that we sailed on, which is called Mirai. So it was a very good experience for a young person to go on and meet a lot of young persons, other young persons as well, which was a very motivational one to give you a little boost for the future, and have such a knowledge with attending in-depth ocean literacy lectures, which helped us deepen our knowledge, and as well enjoy the experience of sailing and enjoy to be in the open ocean for 15 days without the internet or the social media and actually enjoy living in the ocean.
Wow, thank you, Yassine. That's incredible. Congratulations on that trip. That looks really great. Round of applause for Yassine. Thank you. And next, I'd like to pass it over to Khadija Stewart. As I mentioned, she's also traveled on the Peace Boat as a Youth for SDG scholar and is now here representing her organization, EcoVibes. Khadija, please go ahead.
All right. This is weird. I can hear myself, and okay, I don't like it. All right. So, hi, everyone. I am Khadija Stewart from Trinidad and Tobago. As Emily mentioned, I would have sailed on the Peace Boat once in 2019 as part of the Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program, and then last year as part of the Youth for the SDGs program. And for me, coming from the Caribbean, being from an island where climate change is not a myth, it's not a policy paper, it's not a brief, it's our lived reality. I mean, just this morning I woke up and I was like flooded with pictures of flooding, lol, on my social media, on TikTok, everywhere. But these are areas that never flooded before, and you're just seeing people losing their homes, people losing their livelihoods, and it's just like, okay, we really need to take solid action now. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like it was so important for myself to be here, but also encourage other Caribbean youth to be present, to also share their stories, our lived realities, so that people can know and understand. Like I said, this is not something far removed. And a lot of the work that I do with EcoVibes, which is the organization that I founded, is focused on climate storytelling, ocean literacy, especially ocean literacy. I mean, like I said, I'm from the Caribbean and we don't learn about the ocean in our educational system. And I learned the majority of it from being on the Peace Boat and then from taking on different programs afterwards. And it's just like, what do you mean that we don't learn about the body of water that's like a 5-minute drive from a lot of our homes? You know, that's wild, that's crazy, that shouldn't be allowed. And so we've been developing several capacity building initiatives, some supported and funded by the ECUP program. It's called Thinking Beyond the Tides. Some where I would have raised my own funding to be able to execute a deep sea youth symposium. You know, deep sea mining is a topic that's on the horizon, and we've been doing a lot of work on that to make sure that people know, they understand, and they understand why we need to protect the deep ocean. And, you know, not last year before, with this deep sea symposium in Jamaica, we brought like 25 youth from Latin America and the Caribbean to Jamaica to fully understand the negotiation process, the science behind deep sea mining, everything else. And then later on, you know, sometimes when we have these capacity building programs, they end and it's just like, okay, what next? But that wasn't the case. We had several people develop campaigns afterwards. We had about 3 people that went on to do their masters in deep sea biology, 2 studying in Australia, 1 in the Caribbean. So, you know, it was a really solid example of a closed loop system where we provide the knowledge, we provide the tools, but then people go forth and develop their own initiatives. Underneath EcoVibes, sorry, Emily, how much time do I have? Because I could be here for a good... Okay. Underneath EcoVibes, we also have EcoSeas Caribbean, which is the largest network of Caribbean leaders working for ocean conservation in the region. We have 2 of our members present in the audience right now. Yeah, and again, ocean literacy. And one of the things that we really love using is art and creative tools, because for us, the ocean is something, again, is out of sight, out of mind. And our history with the ocean and our relationship with the ocean is not the same. Like, there are a lot of people that are afraid to swim, afraid to go in there, and that stems from slavery and what the ocean represented during that time. So it's about breaking those colonial legacies and really getting people engaged with the ocean in a way that's meaningful. And one of the best ways we found to do that was through art and music. So we've had several exhibitions throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, again, 1 in Jamaica, 1 in Trinidad, 1 in Costa Rica, 1 in Panama, and hoping to keep, you know, taking these exhibitions forward to really encourage people to be engaged with the ocean in a way that seems fun and natural to them, and also not drown them with doom and gloom facts, because that could also be a little intense to take in, especially when there's so much happening in the world right now. But I feel like I could stop there because I could keep going for forever and ever and ever, amen. But we have so much more projects coming up. I mean, as soon as COP finish, I have to go and finish writing up a proposal to submit to the UN Ocean Decade for endorsement. So very excited about all the work that we're doing and really here to, again, spread not just my story, but the stories of all the youth on the communities and the issues that they're facing, as well as the solutions, because it's very easy to be focused on these are the problems, but as a region, we are people of hope and resilience, and we really want to bring that to the forefront. So, yeah.
Thank you, Khadija. And thank you also for touching on the topic of deep sea mining. You know, Peace Boat really supports a moratorium on deep sea mining, and maybe that's something Bodhi and I can elaborate on in the next part of this session, because working towards Jamaica, coming up the ISA next, actually probably September and August, we're going to be also traveling and visiting some places around the world with Peace Boat. And we're going to be working also towards bringing a delegation to Jamaica, I think even in July, to build up to that so we can work together. All right, Santosh, our co-host also with the Ocean Policy Research Institute, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and good morning all of you. And thank you for coming today to join our session. As you can see, we don't have any very famous, very well-renowned personality on this stage or on anywhere. And this is how the nature of, we decided to make our session. We want youth, we want actions, we want the future who will do something, not talk too much. And I'm not good at talking, I'm so sorry. I'm organizing my thoughts, what should I say, because it's overwhelming, so many things to say to the audience. And not many of the audience might be interested to listen to you, because you might not be very famous and influential, or not influential, but renowned, as I'm not renowned. But yeah, thank you for being here to listen to us, although we are not renowned, and supporting us with your with being here. I mean, that's the support we want, all of our youth wants. So I'm Santosh Kumar Roniar, Research Fellow from Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, Tokyo, Japan. And we are co-hosting and co-organizing this session and Ocean Pavilion as well with Peace Boat US and Peace Boat Japan. As Emily already mentioned, we want to see more youth in this kind of podium. Also with the negotiations, also with the communication things. Actions, of course, youth are already there. One thing I believe is youth have the higher rate of doing things. As you understand, like, it's all about, I think it's all about rate of change. Rate of change of climate has increased, it's multiplied, it's exponential change. Rate of change of information is exponential, but rate of change of negotiators, rate of change of policy makers, rate of change of who should be taking the actions, why it's so slow? Why we have people, I'm not trying to say like, yeah, people who have gray hairs are useless or they are not doing anything. I'm not saying that. They are important. They are the guidance provider. They are the advisor to us, but the action, the real action on the stage, on the ground, should be from the youth. That's how they learn. You don't say them to hold the camera behind or like do the volunteering. That's also important, but we need to put them in the action so they will learn. And they will learn in a better way. Why? Because we have new age of information. We have new age where we have new technology, new sciences, new environment in overall. So it's very important. And that's what we believe and we do at OPRI. Probably we are the youngest organizing team in whole Ocean Pavilion. We are taking the lead. And that's what our president believed in us. Like, yeah, you are the youth, you should learn. Go organize it, do it, and you will know it. And we have the guidance. We'll provide you the guidance and all the support. So that's what we want to do with the Palau expedition things, and along with the Peace Boat. We try to bring youth to the podium, give them as much as platform and opportunity to act. Wherever it is action on the ground or it is negotiation part, wherever it is, they should be given chance. Just talking, yes, youth we require. I have seen like maybe more than 10 sessions like, yeah, we need youth. And the people on the podiums all are above 60. I'm sorry for that. No, we need youth. How many times would you say, like 10 years, 15 years you have been saying this, we need youth. You have already, from 40, you have already been 60 now, and you're still saying we need youth. Just bring them like this, and let the audience, let the world knows what the youth want. It's their future, it's our future. We believe we should be given chance and platform to speak about ourselves. And we're equipped, like all of us, we are doing pretty much a great job in our own specific technical areas. I'm a marine epidemiologist. I'm doing about contamination, marine contamination, zoonotic diseases. We're doing a lot. But when it comes to the policy making in contamination and with the coastal environment and coastal population, I'm not there. And my research doesn't get that much of recognition, and all those outcomes is not implemented in terms of policies or actions, because simply policymakers are someone else, not me and not us. So that's only one of the important messages I want to give you in this. I want to give in this ocean pavilion is bring the youth. Let's bring the youth. Let's bring the crowd. It's very difficult, I know. People want to see the famous people. People want to see the famous personality, well-known personality, Secretary General, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I want to see youth. I would be interested to see someone from the indigenous community. Yes, I want to see them. I want to know. We talk about ocean literacy. Who knows better than them? They have been there for thousands of years. And we talk about ocean literacy based on our Western science or whatever science it is. They know better than us. We need to bring them and hear them first. We need to learn from them. And then we will know what's going on, what's the issue, and how we find the solution, merging the contemporary science, traditional science, Western science, whatever it is, merging it, coming together. Yeah. That's all my messages. And thank you again, once again, thank you for being here, listening to us. And I hope this message will propagate, and we will be able to bring more youth in other next COP. I don't know next COP, but yeah. In the platform, in the action plans, we'll be, in negotiation, we'll be able to bring more youth and their voices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh. And, we also want to thank OPRI. We had a group of youth coming on the Peace Boat actually last year. They sponsored 8 youth to join us traveling on board our ship. And we really hope to encourage ocean conservation and education capacity building together through that hands-on experience. So thank you for that, and thank you for co-hosting today's session. And now we'd like to kind of start with another question, thinking about the experiences here at COP. What are the gaps that you think youth can fill? Santosh just mentioned a few of them, but there's so much more. This is a huge conference. There's more than 50,000 people here in the Blue Zone working towards all of these different issues. And the youth leaders that are here today are quite incredible. They have so many projects and stories and spaces that they want to be able to share with. So maybe we can pass the mic over. Lucas, if you want to grab the mic there. We'll start again with Bodhi. Tell us a little bit more about what are the things that you're bringing here to COP? What would you like to see more of? And feel free to add any recent projects that you're working on.
So quick story, and then 3 action items and a project. It's 2022. We just had the most amazing time at the UN Oceans Conference Youth and Innovation Forum. My team, which was full of PhD marine scientists, fisheries experts, won the session. We got to present with the UN Secretary General and Jason Momoa about the empowerment and importance of youth, yet afterwards, very little substance remains. Where is this gap, and why and how can we fill this? So 3 action items through intergenerational collaboration. And number 1 is making sure young people are represented C-suites and in board positions of organizations and in countries' negotiating teams. So there's great examples, the Youth Negotiators Academy, in terms of how young people are represented in the COP space and the UNFCCC process across all COPs. And then there's important ways that we, young people, must add value to organizations and institutions. That means having young people as advisory board members for organizations and philanthropies. We know that most times, ocean literacy isn't properly financed nor supported, especially in the context of upskilling the next generation of the workforce in a regenerative blue economy. Why is that? Oftentimes, people can't think past 2 to 5 year funding cycles. Oftentimes, it's 1-year funding cycles. Policy and negotiating teams change in that time. Businesses' fiscal year ends. What we can learn from indigenous communities is really important for my second point. This is increasing the longevity in which we fund and lead ocean solutions. We can't build systems that are meant to last 1 to 2 years when the work of ocean stewardship will require 7+ generations, hundreds of years, as Maori people, as people across the Pacific say. So as we both integrate young people and have young people in advisory positions, let's actually provide 360-degree mentorship. Let's make sure that our mentors and mentees have the space to share specific ways in which we can actually add value and contribute to what the blue economy might be and might become in a way that isn't tokenistic, because we see this all across the board. Number 3 is really important. It's investing in youth-led solutions. We're seeing that Gen Z and millennials have the largest market cap in history. We have the largest purchasing power of any generation. Our ideas and our solutions matter. Yet when it comes down to youth ocean conservation financing, and whether that's in marine CDR, which is a nascent and emerging field, or aquaculture or ocean literacy, again, it's these $5,000 to $15,000 investments that are just enough to seed our projects. We're not seeing the scale of investment with the $100,000 to $500,000 range and then the $1 million+ range to support youth-led initiatives. I want to give one example, one project, Ocean Uprise. Ocean Uprise started with literally the only investment that was put in was my salary for 2 years. And with that salary over 2 years, we built a community of 5,000 young people. Now we have a whole team that manages and runs our program. I started with a $200 Roots and Shoots grant from Jane Goodall. I think the power of microgranting is so important, and the power of supporting those microgrants and the small level of finance to get to the larger levels of finance to support ocean tech and innovation. I can give you 3 great examples right now. One's called Symbrosia Seaweeds, one's called On Deck Fisheries AI, and one is a new organization that I'm going to talk to you about right now. I think we need to make sure that we upscale this investment and we show pathways to include young people in advisory boards, to have young people leading the space, to have young people in the policy and negotiation rooms, because we have solutions that are changing what an ocean economy might look like and is looking like. So going forwards, in addition to the University of Mother Ocean work, I'm building an organization I started in 7th grade called Inner Light. Inner Light is all about ocean, climate, and human resilience, because we know in the face of climate change, resilience must be built into all of our systems, our financial, ecological, cultural, socio-environmental systems. And so with resilience being the focus, and resilience requiring funding, for instance, in the case of protecting mangroves or blue natural capital, I'm really focused on how we get philanthropies, organizations like Minderoo, like the Betty and Gordon Moore Foundation, other foundations, public, and really the private philanthropy unlocked to invest into these youth-led initiatives across the world that are changing ecosystems so that we can unlock this next scale of capital. I think these principles, going back here and tying the loop, that really focus on these ancestral principles of stewardship that have been ongoing for 30,000 years, marine traditional ecological knowledge, this must be revalued. Our institutions, the University of British Columbia, Hui, Scripps, these institutions must have Indigenous scientists, must have Indigenous professors. We must be directly a part of a system if we're going to build a new system. To me, the blue economy, because it's the 7th largest economy in the world, has a lot of potential and promise. It's not just about integration and assimilation. It's about meaningful partnership. And that's partnership with young people, Indigenous peoples, and peoples that have been left out of ocean conservation. And that's how we change the future of the blue economy, and we need every single person to be a champion of the ocean and all of the messages we have for you today. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, Bodhi, I can only agree with most, or like all points basically you said. And it's interesting if we look around, like here at COP, there are actually like a lot of young people around. And that just shows that there is some progress already in the sense of, you know, young people have the chance to come here to COP, to show presence. And in the end, showing presence is already like the first step to to make some changes. But of course, that does not necessarily mean that everything is gonna be good. We need to enable young people to actually come here to be part of this, and that does not mean we need to traditionally privileged or more privileged young people coming here. For them it's easy, but we also need to include other underrepresented groups to be able to come here and to raise their voices. And that's something earlier I was saying about the specific project I'm working on. We actually try to include as many different groups and communities to be part of the research, because the whole problem with climate change, it is a global problem, and it needs like a complete societal change for like big changes to, or like some form of solution. And that does not mean there's this one single solution for it to be over. No, it needs each one of us and everybody working together on a joint solution. And that's why, in my opinion, just looking around COP here, there are so many people who show force, who raise their voices, and that's the first, I think, the most important start of a change already. So if we, as a society, and also with funding agencies, or if we can enable young people to have their voices heard even more, that goes a long way.
Great. I don't know if we want to go back to Nassim also on the Zoom. Yassine, if you can hear us okay, or if you would like to share a little bit about what are some of the gaps you think that youth can fill here at COP?
Yes, I would like to say that, as they already said, we've been seeing a lot of youth, I would say, this edition of COPE, more than the others. And with a lot of ideas that youth bring, we can see a lot of innovations, especially in this era, so with a lot of innovative ideas, a lot of collaboration, I would say, and some ideas that we're not really used to are usually brought from young people, and that's why I would say intergenerational collaborations are very powerful, especially with advisory panels and councils that could happen with the government or with an association, talking generally about environmental issues. And last week I've been in COPE, and now I'm back to my country. I'm from North Africa, a country called Tunisia. So we've been seeing a lot of young people who are interested in such problems and would like to have an impact, but not able to do that. And thanks to Opry that gave me the chance to be present in the COPE event, I would say that I was able to see how the world is and how a lot of things are happening in very big conferences. I'm not used to such a conference. This is my first time, as I said. So it's a big one, and I can say that there's some people that are okay with young people being in such conferences and will hear their opinion and will be interested in such a thing. But other people will just listen to them and keep going and do whatever they were doing. So I would say, as we have already said, fundings and scholarships, letting people and young people be able to come to such conferences and fund their projects would be very helpful, because we will never know what ideas they will bring and what technologies, since I'm representing the young people with innovation. with the tech innovations. I would say not a lot of people are helping them, but I can see that even having the opportunity to come here was a very good chance. I'll be thinking again for such an opportunity, but I'm more trying to see how young people, how the old people, I don't want to use that term, but people who have a lot of experience in such a field are acting with young people trying to bring innovations. For example, from my side, AI and data science to a lot of problems. And we already see those problems. We know that those problems exist. And if we try to help you, that will be a very good thing for the environment. But people, let's say, they're scared from the technologies, and from the young people, they may do some wrong decisions. But we all know after a short while or a long while, we'll eventually do such a thing. And I would say young people are now more and more trying, more and more present in such an event and doing a lot of talks. As I said, I have seen a pavilion called Youth and Children Pavilion, which is a very good thing, and I'm happy that I've seen such a thing in the pavilion's delegations. And I can see a lot of people from all around the world coming here to such an event. So, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Yassine. And Khadija will ask you the same question. This is your second time at COP. Maybe what are some of the gaps you think youth can fill, and how can we kind of work together to bridge that gap?
Having 5 million different answers run through my head for this question, trying to figure out what I'm gonna. You hear me now? Okay. Wow, I was talking to myself for a hot minute. Okay. So I've been sitting down here for a while trying to figure out the answer to that question, different things going through. And I'm like, what do I say? What do I start with? Where do I take that question? It's so loaded, especially since, access to spaces like this for Caribbean youth is not the norm. And all I could think about, I don't know why, it was strange, but my mind just kept going back to the first time I was on the peace boat, sailing throughout Europe and crossing the Atlantic and ending in New York. And the fact that that was the first time in my life I felt like I had a completely safe space to be able to be present for people to understand the reality of climate change in the region. And I was like, you know what? That's something that's key and that's missing. Safe spaces for youth to be able to speak up and speak out and really contribute to the conversation and share their solutions, share their ideas, build on that, and just keep moving forward. So that was one of the thoughts that I had. I had several others, but I feel like, again, being from the region, what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of youth who want to understand climate change, who want to understand the processes, who want to understand everything, but they have no idea where and how to start. And sometimes they get into these spaces and they're just like, oh my God, let me reach out to this elder for help. Let me reach out to somebody who's been here for help. And what happens? You're met with, who are you? Why are you talking to me? Please disappear. Okay, bye. And immediately discouraged, immediately no longer want to keep going. And that is very much soul crushing. And I have been on the receiving end of that way too many times. I think I have strength that I don't know where it comes from to keep going in this space, but it's very much our lived reality. So again, those safe spaces and encouraging and nurturing and supporting ideas. I mean, Bodhi touched on the fact that when he started, he received a grant that allowed this. When I started, I was going on vibes and good energy. I had no money. I had nothing. All I had was education, and I was greeted, again, people who would not support. And I started Eco Vibes because I was unemployed. Like, there was a severe lack of opportunity. I mean, I had 2 masters and I still couldn't get a job. People still wouldn't take me seriously with the conversations I was having. So it was just like really and truly having to work 10 times as hard to even be present in the space for people to even understand the voice, the work that we do, the importance of it. And, after a while of really pushing and being here, people finally start somewhat understanding, but not 100%. But it's also about creating other spaces, not just for me alone. So I'm here today, thanks Emily, and I was here last year at CUP, and now I have more people coming with me. You know, Kieran in the audience, he's here as a part of that to make sure other Caribbean youth also see what it's like, because again, in the negotiating rooms, the negotiating process, we don't have access to our negotiators like a lot of the other people do. So we don't understand what they're saying in the room. We don't understand what they're fighting for, and they're not coming back to us. We're not even contributing to our NDCs in any big way. So it's just like, how are we ensuring that this is something that is beneficial for us? We can't ensure that. And then when we fight for it back home, it's just like, again, who are you? Why are you talking to us? Leave us alone. You're making noise. Children must be seen and not heard. Go and do something meaningful with your life. Leave us alone. And it's like, this is something meaningful. We are fighting for our future, you know? So again, and yeah, but also, I mean, there's so much other things to touch on. Finances was mentioned, but one of the biggest problems I see that with youth being in this space, especially from the region again, is that they want to apply for grants. They want to do different things. We don't get financial training. So it's just like, yeah, here's $5,000 to do this project, and then you have to do receipts, you have to do all this accounting stuff. There's nowhere for you to start. You're figuring it out on the fly. You're making mistakes. Sometimes organizations are holding you accountable for misusing funds and all these different things. But it's just because you genuinely don't have the knowledge and the know-how, which is why our literacy programs are focused on not just understanding the ocean, but understanding all the moving parts of ocean conservation work. So finance, governance, on-the-ground work, like community engagement, everything to make sure that our people are very much equipped and ready to go out there. I'm not sure I answered the question of how youth could be more engaged at CUP, but one thing I would say is that last year when I was here and I was looking around for Caribbean youth, we were present, but not in a large amount of numbers. And then speaking on platforms was also very rare. This year, I'm seeing a little bit more, but still, youth being able to share on platforms, again, very rare. So more spaces, because a lot of times I'm fortunate enough, and that's because I know Emily, and that's because I've been working in this space for a while, but there's so many more incredible Caribbean youth that have powerful stories to tell that should also be given access to these spaces. So, yeah.
I agree. Yes, thank you. And that's definitely one of the goals of Peace Boat as well, is to really give youth a voice on every global stage, to bring them with us along the way, and try to provide as much capacity building, education, and training as we can, and mentorship. That's also something that we really believe is very important. And I know most of the ocean community here is doing that. So thank you to all of the Ocean Pavilion partners, because I think that within COP, one of the things that I see about the Ocean Pavilion is the collaboration and the partnership and the willingness to work together. And that's very important. And I hope that can spread throughout COP, because it can be a very competitive space sometimes, even though we're working towards the same goal, which is conservation of people and the planet together. But sometimes there's not always that collaboration so evident. So I think that the Ocean Pavilion is really setting a great example. I don't know, Santosh, if you had anything you wanted to add. We have just 5 minutes, so I don't know, we could also take a couple questions from the audience if you like. For those of you who have a question, if you want to raise your hand, we can pass the mic quickly, maybe to a few people. We see one here in the front and one over here. Again, just 5 minutes, so if we can maybe state your name, where you're from briefly, and a short question to the panel, that'd be great. Thank you.
How about now? Perfect. Thank you very much. My name is Sisai Lucas. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm so happy to see some of familiar faces on this hub, and it's my pleasure to meet Bodhi, Kaheja, Raidre, Mark. All of the youth are inspiring me to do a great initiative in landlocked country. As you know, Ethiopia is a landlocked country, so we guys have not blessed for having ocean. So we don't have enough awareness about the ocean conservation. The thing that I saw on such stages, a lot of ocean projects Ocean Initiative is working on the coastal region or around Caribbean country, because you guys have a lot of ocean, so you have at least better understanding about the conservation of ocean. So my people, me and the other landlocked country, we don't have any clue, any point about the ocean. So we are the one who polluting your ocean. So I just want to encourage you guys, especially we see a lot of users here. We are the one who brings sustainable solution for the future. I totally agree with my friend's idea. Most of the time, the negotiators are they are more than 50, 60. They are too aged. That means they spend like a good moment of year when they are at 30, 40. They enjoy a lot of good things. Today, if we are not fighting for our climate, for our ocean, definitely we're gonna end at the age of 30. So we don't have to wait for those aged people to make an impact. So I just want to ask you, all of you guys, please focus on the landlocked country. Let me tell you a short story. Only 1 minute.
Yeah,
1 minute.
We need to answer also.
Okay,
so
thank you very much. So please focus on the landlocked country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. If we have another question up here in the front, we just have 2 minutes left, everyone, so we do need to finish on time. Thank you, though, for your comments.
Okay,
Landlocked countries to the forefront.
Thank you. My name is Castro. I come from Tanzania. Definitely I lead the team of more than 1,000 volunteers. We definitely clean our beaches around coast of Indian Ocean. I think in Africa we have a very famous long-standing customs. That's when an elder have a seat, a young people cannot sit at that place unless that young people is sick or elder is sick. So I think it's very important for us to understand in this global platform, we need to prepare 2 seats. 1 seat for elder and another seat for young people. Unless we should not expect to see the young generation in this global stage. For instance, in my country, young people have just graduated from universities and then they are suffering from unemployment. So it's very difficult for them to afford even to be at Baku, Azerbaijan for such kind of conference. It's very important to ensure that we empower young people with our skills, we empower young people with capacity building, and the most importantly, we must link their initiatives and finance. We must link their initiatives and financial support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think we're going to have to wrap up there. We'll just take one comment each from anybody who would like to give a final, wrap-up statement here.
A wrap-up, maybe not a wrap-up, but the beginning statement, I would say. Yeah, our friend from Ethiopia. I'm from Nepal. I'm also landlocked country, and that's what made me to think about ocean more. Because what human psychology, what you don't have, you want it more. So that was what I am in ocean domain. What youth can give to this platform or to COP29 or whatever convention it is, we can give a pace, acceleration. As I said, rate is important. Climate change rate is high. Information rate is high. Technology change is high. Science is high. We have to action rate. The rate of action should be high, and which we can give. Youth can give, because we are agile, we are energetic. Well, comparatively, we are more energetic, yeah. So we can give that rate of action. And we can also give intergenerational communication. You know, we have to, as our friend said, very well put, we need 2 chairs. Unless there are 2 chairs, we can never promote those communication. Yeah, that's all from my side. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And this is the last moment, so just like 30 seconds each.
Yeah, 30 seconds. I could do that. Right. So earlier this year, somebody told me that my plans and all my work was a little too ambitious. And I was like, there's no such thing, because this problem that we're facing is way too large. So I just want to encourage everybody out there, if your ideas seem big, if they seem too ambitious, there's no such thing. Do it. We need as much big, bold actions as possible.
All right. Lucas and then Bodhi?
I'll just go. 3 things that we have to do. We have to end fossil fuel subsidies and harmful fishery subsidies. We have to stop deep seabed mining and have a ban and a moratorium on deep seabed mining so that we can protect the common heritage site of all kind. And we must fund and invest in a regenerative blue economy. And that will take getting every financial player, financial instrument, large government on this very clear notion that young people are shaping the economy and that young people do not decouple economic growth and environmental health, that the health of our economy globally depends on the health of our ocean and our planet. That's what indigenous people have been championing for 30,000 plus years. That's what we must stand for. That's what we must protect. So let's invest in alternative solutions that are based in the ocean, which has the greatest chance of fighting the climate crisis. The ocean has the superpowers, so do young and indigenous people. Let's get the job done.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Anything else you want to add, Lucas? Otherwise, yeah? Okay.
It was all said already.
I agree. You guys are amazing. Let's give a round of applause for our speakers here.